Hey everybody, welcome to the Roger That Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I know it's been a little while. I've been keeping real busy. Yesterday, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, I was on the Felipe Esparza Podcast again. Hell yeah, what? I got hit up yesterday morning at 8 a.m. I woke up at 9. A text from Felipe's manager, producer, wife, saying if I want to be a co-host on the podcast yesterday. And immediately I jumped on the opportunity to be a co-host. And I got my ass down to the All Things Comedy studio. It was badass as always. Yesterday's guest was GP Wiz, which is he did like a lot of acting since he was like in high school till now. So I'm not gonna give it all away. Go check out the new Felipe What's Up Fool podcast. It's a Rodrigo Torres co-host, yours truly, and Gabriel as the guest. He's cool, man. He's the second person actually that I've met that is 2'10", like on the dot. Because one of my homegirls, Sassy Cassie, she's also 2'10". So what are the odds of that, man? What are the odds of that? It's cool knowing my homegirl Lila Hart too, because she's gotten to introduce me to like all these cool, people, like Sassy Cassie, like her friend Drew Priesta, who's on that I think TLC show about like little people. I think she's on that. Well, I know she's on that. Yeah, they're having their like season finale or some stuff. But either way, it's cool as fuck, man. The podcast is awesome. To talk about my other friend that's 2'10", Sassy Cassie came. She connected with Lila Hart. Lila Hart told me like, hey, she's gonna come through to Goon headquarters for like performances, because Sassy, I think she's based out of somewhere in the East, and then she comes out here to LA to like perform at like strip clubs and so on and so forth, to be like the special guest, which is awesome. So when Sassy Cassie first got here to LA to meet up with her homegirl, alright, is this light gonna fucking change for me? I'm currently walking back to my crib from picking up some weed. So is this light gonna motherfucking change, or am I stranded here? Oh, son of a bitch. Well, what's the point of having a button at a fucking stop sign, at a light, if it's not gonna fucking work? God fucking damn it. And I want to cross the street right here instead of going forward, because, man, I'm walking up Pico, and look, that's besides the point. The point is that when Sassy Cassie, the world's smallest stripper, came over to Goon HQ because she's friends with Lila Hart, I was like, you know what, man? I should go kick it. I should go do something. I'm going to just fucking start crossing right now. This fucking button don't work for shit. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I go over and be like a chaperone, a bodyguard to Lila and Sassy? Because that day that Sassy landed from I forgot where she's from, but from somewhere in the East. That day that she landed, she had a performance over at Deja Vu strip club in Hollywood. I know you're thinking about the right one. The one by the one that's literally on the Walk of Fame. Like you see like stars and all that shit on the floor. So we head over to the strip club, and I'm being a bodyguard. I'm introducing myself for all the strippers and the management at Deja Vu as the bodyguard. Lila did a great set before Sassy Cassie performed. Before that even happened though. So I looked at the pole at the strip club, and that shit was tall. It was at least like fucking almost 15 feet up in the air. So I asked Sassy Cassie, who's 2'10", like, can you climb to the top of the pole? And she was like, hell yeah, and I could not believe it. And then I saw it and I believed it, because I was like, God damn, she is a professional. If you're 2'10" and you can climb a 15-foot pole, man, she's more athletic than most, for goddamn sure. For a 2'10" person, man, she's more athletic than half of the people I fucking know. At least half, if not over half. Because for her performance, like, she shakes her ass, does the usual stripper shit. But what sets her apart from the rest of the pack is not that she's obviously, this world's smallest stripper, which sets her in like a superstar category. But she does like handstand push-ups going like all which directions. Like she'll do like fucking 10, 20 handstand push-ups like nothing. Professional. Here's the nitty-gritty. So she had a great performance, that's Cassie. So we're waiting outside Deja Vu for the Lyft driver to come pick us up. So there's this drunk girl with her boyfriend, and then the drunk girl accidentally pulls like she doesn't accidentally, she pulls like the fucking the handle for the back door of the Lyft that was ours. And Sassy Cassie jokingly was like, "Hey bitch, don't steal that ride." Jokingly, she's 2'10". She didn't really mean it. I mean, part of her did mean it because Sassy Cassie also doesn't walk very far because it hurts her. But that's besides the point. The main point is that she was just joking, and then this chick took it super serious because she was drunk. And then out of nowhere, like this chick that's super drunk just started going up to Sassy Cassie like, "Yo, what's up?" And I'm like thinking like, this is bullshit, man. So I get in between the both of them. Lila Hart starts talking shit to she starts talking shit to the girl that's drunk. So Lila and Sassy are going back and forth with them. I get in the middle because the drunk girl doesn't have any boundaries. And then I open the car door. I tell Sassy Cassie and Lila Hart like, "All right, come on, let's go. Get the fuck in there. Let's go." And then, like, the chick starts putting her fucking hands on me. And I literally had to grab her hands and tell her fucking, quote unquote, man to control his bitch. There's been too many times now in my life where some bitch has gone array next to their bitch ass man and their fucking dude can't do shit about it. So this bitch is going berserk. Now I'm talking shit to this bitch. I'm like, "You crazy bitch. Da 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 da." I get in the Lyft. I fucking keep talking shit to this bitch as I close down the window. And then this bitch, I'm telling you, she is crazy. She was crazy. She was drunk as fuck. She fucking grabs onto the window of the fucking Lyft and starts like rolling with the window. I'm like, what the fuck? And then eventually what I do is I had gotten a free water bottle at Deja Vu. So the first thing I did was I fucking opened that water bottle and I fucking sprayed all over her and called her a crazy cunt. And then rolled up the window and we were out like, woo! Great experience. If you guys don't hang out with little people, you guys are missing out because it's always a fucking fun ass time. Super cool, bringing it back to Felipe Esparza Podcast. Super cool that I got to meet the homie Gabriel. He did like music videos for 2 Live Crew back in the days. Again, go watch the Felipe Esparza episode. It's fucking badass. And if you guys didn't, also check out the one that I'm the guest on, which was barely like 2 weeks ago. I got hit up by the Felipe's manager, wife producer, to do the podcast like 2 weeks ago as a guest, and I was fucking ecstatic, man. I was a big time fan of Felipe. I thought, holy shit, man, this is my opportunity. And a lot of people have been asking me like, "Hey, how'd you meet Felipe?" And I'll give you the lowdown right now. So I've known Felipe for a while now because I've been listening to podcasts for like many, many years now. The first one being Joey Diaz podcast. So I've been listening to that for goddamn near 5.5, if not 6 years. And Felipe has been on like early on. Like Felipe was on an episode of the Joey Diaz What's Happening Now podcast where they were like smoking like vapor pens, right? Because in the office you can smoke like joints or like blunts or bongs or pipes. So in the office for the church What's Happening Now, while they're recording, they're smoking vapor, like wax pens. And then all of a sudden, this chick from like another part of the office, because like, it was a big, building with like offices inside. So this lady during the podcast that Felipe is on for Joey knocks on the door, and then Lee Sayed, the co-host for the church, opens the door, and man, poor Lee, man. First of all, at this point, he was barely like getting high, so he wasn't like a professional like how he is now. So this lady just starts giving Lee the worst ear beating of all time. She starts saying like, "Oh my God, we can smell the weed." And Joey's just like from his chair, "We're not even smoking weed." And then she's like, "Well, I can smell it. It reeks in here." That's literally what she said. "It reeks in here." Everybody's complaining about it at our office. Blah, blah, blah. She leaves, and I swear to God, I think I'm correct in thinking this. She fucking comes back a second time. The point is I know Felipe for a minute because of podcasting, and especially because of that funny ass episode of the church. First time I ever meet Felipe was like a year ago, or maybe not even a year ago, probably like almost a year ago, when he did Kill Tony. So I was in the back of the main room at the Comedy Store waiting for Kill Tony to like start. But this is like way before like they even allowed audience in there. So I was there early. I was in the back just chilling, and then all of a sudden I look up, and it's fucking Felipe Esparza passing by me. And I look up, I'm like, oh bro, you're fucking Felipe, man. I'm a big fan. You know, I checked out his stand-up by then. He's fucking, to me, Felipe Esparza is the most funniest Latino comedian working in Los Angeles right now. The funniest motherfucker working in Los Angeles right now for Latinos, man. And also one of the funniest comedians of all time, because this motherfucker has me rolling. And a bunch of my friends that just got into him because I was on the podcast, man, they fucking all love Felipe, man. Felipe is the man. I'm about to head into the 7-Eleven. I will be right back. All right, I am back. So check it out. I meet Felipe my first time in the back of the fucking main room at the Comedy Store. I went to go get some blunt. So now I got blunts and the rest of the story to tell you guys. So I meet Felipe at the back. I'm like, bro, I'm a big fan of you, man. I'm fucking really big fan. I think you're fucking hilarious. Basically fanboying now, because like at the end of the day, man, when it comes to comedy, I'm always a fan. I'm always a big, big fan. Way before I ever even had the notion of becoming a stand-up comedian myself, I was going to mad comedy shows. Of course, like a bunch of free ones, because, you know, I was broke back in the days and shit, still kind of broke now. But I was going to like so many fucking free comedy shows back in the days at the Improv, at the Comedy Store, at the fucking, at like Power Violence. So I had the opportunity to see a bunch of like dope-ass comedians, and for free. Like really, I saw Bill Burr for free. I seen like so many comedians for free. So when I see somebody that I really like in the stand-up world, man, I do fanboy out, man. It's just like my way of showing respect and showing how much I really care for that comedian that I'm trying to connect with. So I meet Felipe. He asks me, like, he tells me like, oh yeah, bro, that's cool. Then he asks me like for my name. I'm like, yo, I'm Roger. Nice to meet you. So then check this out, man. I've been listening to Felipe's What's Up Fool podcast for a cool minute now, at least for like 3 years, because I remember watching or listening to the episode of the What's Up Fool podcast that featured Ty Rivera, and that podcast let me know all about Ty Rivera, like how when he started in the game to where he's at right now. And that's how I also got to, it's like through podcasts I got to learn about so many comedians that I wouldn't have known about before. And because Felipe is a dope ass dude, I already knew Ty Rivera was going to be a dope ass dude. And I learned all about Ty in that podcast. And then I even had the opportunity to do comedy with Ty on like the comedy scene in Los Angeles. Because Ty was out here for a cool minute before he moved out to Arizona and now to Vegas. And yeah, Ty Rivera's the band. So being out in LA, I got to do comedy with Ty Rivera, who was featured on the Felipe's podcast. And you might be thinking, why am I talking about Ty Rivera right now? Because check this out. I go to motherfucking watch Felipe with my ex-girlfriend. I buy his tickets for the Comedy Chaos. The only reason I bought his tickets is because Felipe was performing. That's the main motherfucker I really wanted to see. So we go to the show. We get there, we sit down, we watch like killer after killer after killer. We saw like fucking we saw Tom Segura, Bill Burr, some other comedians like Sam Tripoli, dope ass motherfucker, host of the Comedy Chaos, the reason why I was even there. And then Felipe fucking murdered. Felipe Esparza is a murderer on fucking stage, man. He had me and Max rolling for fucking forever throughout his whole set. We were just dying laughing, man. Felipe is really, really that funny. So after the show, after the Comedy Chaos, I head to the front patio with my lady, and I see the whole GPS crew, George Perez, Sidekick Eddie, Irvin, Will, Xavier, Jason Rouse, like I see them like kicking it outside in the patio, so I go over there to say my what's up before I leave. So like I'm doing like I'm talking to Sidekick Eddie. He has his phone now. We do like a photo, was with it. And then as we're like doing the photo, Sidekick's like, wait, he's talking to you, bro. And then he points to Felipe, who was on like the other side of the patio in the front patio of the Comedy Store. So Felipe's pointing at me, and he's like, hey, bro, you're Roger, man. I heard good things about you. Ty has had good things about you. I'm like, what? So because Ty Rivera saw me do well out here in these streets, he told Felipe about him when my name came up. And when I saw Felipe perform at Comedy Chaos, hanging out at the front patio after, Felipe came up to me, said, hey, man, you're Roger Lopez. And he came up to me, said all that, and he hugged me, like, put his arm around me, and then he did a video. He was like, hey, fool, this looks like my son. Man, that shit was hilarious as fuck, and also like a dope-ass experience for me. Because he's a fucking one of the best, if not the best Latino. He's one of the best comedians of all time and the best Latino comedian right fucking now. So for him to say that then, it was so fucking cool. Super, super, super cool. And before even that happened, when I was running my show, when I was running my open mic at Roger That at the Next Stage Theater, some of you guys remember that. Like, that shit used to be bumping, man. So, I'm not sure how I met the homie Johnny Roque, but he's been a great big reason for me getting onto Felipe's. Because Johnny Roque is one of Felipe Esparza's openers, along with Martin Rizzo and now Rachel Wolfson. And Johnny would always come to my spots, and I would always be like, yeah, bro, you gotta sign up, I'll put you up, you can do much time as you want. So the last time he did my Roger That show, it was at the Skiptown Playhouse Theater now. Since canceled, but when it was going on, man, she was cracking lacking. So he came through, Johnny Roque came through. As soon as he came through, I was like, bro, you're up next, bro, this shit is cracking. He goes up, does fucking kills though. Kills my mic, Roger That, man. He like murders, man. He's the funniest comedian, Johnny Roque is. And then I took a dope photo of him, like on stage murdering. He reposted that on his Instagram. Felipe sees that. Johnny Roque is on the Felipe Esparza Podcast. And Felipe asked him, like, hey, fool, I saw you were at a show. And Johnny was like, yeah, bro, I was over at Skiptown Playhouse with my homie Roger's show, man, my open mic. And then Felipe was like, oh, that's cool, bro. Roger looks like if me and Ty Rivera had a kid. And then after, Felipe is like, hey, bro, that guy's cool, man. We're going to have to get him on the podcast soon, And then they were like, oh, man, his manager, producer, wife, Lisa, she was like, oh, we're booked up, but in a few months, we'll have him down. So ever since then, in my brain, I'm like, if they said that, they for sure are going to follow up on that. So they really might get me a spot on the Felipe Esparza Podcast. So that was around like, let's say May. It's August. It's like 4 months later, if I'm correct. And is that correct? No, 3 months later. So 3 months later is like fucking 2 weeks ago, where I got hit up by Martin Rizzo, who's another dope ass dude, bro. Super dope ass dude, and he's a great comedian. Anybody that opens for Felipe is a great comedian. And also he's a dope skater, bro. Like real can grind rails, do all that shit. Awesome. Martin hits me up. Well, I should say Martin. Martin is like Martin Moreno. But Martin hits me up, and then he says like, hey man, what's your number? So I expect Martin to be like, yo, what's your number? I'm gonna hit you up so I can put you on the show, right? Nah, I sent him my number, and then I don't get anything back, and I don't get no text or no call for like 2 hours, and then he hits me back up on Instagram, like, hey, did Lisa hit you up? And I'm immediately, when he said Lisa, I was like, that's Felipe, his wife, manager, producer. I'm fucking getting on the podcast. And then boom, she contacted me. We texted. She was like, hey, can you do Wednesday, our usual spot over at the All Things Comedy Studio in Burbank? I'm like, fuck yeah, I can. Shit, man. Even if I had to work, I would fucking cancel work to to go to this taping, like to go to be a guest on fucking What's Up Fool podcast. And so that comes, my day comes, Wednesday. I head over to Burbank, and shit, the rest is history, man. You can listen to the rest on Felipe Esparza Podcast. It's been a fucking dope fucking it's been a dope August, man, to be on Felipe's podcast. And you know what's crazy? I think it was the end of July or the beginning of this month. I was on the George Perez podcast. And I'm 100% sure that being on George Perez podcast really, really helped influence, Felipe finally being like, you know what, let's get that fool on. He was on the week before on George Perez. They get him on this week for us. And I was super ecstatic, man. George Perez, I've known this dude for at least 4 years now, which is as long as I've been doing stand-up comedy. Because way before I was a stand-up, I saw George roast battle Sidney Castillo at roast battle. He fucking murdered, man. Sidney's a good roast battler too. But George, man, was a fucking beast, bro. He's only gotten way better. So I've been fucking with George since then, man. I heard George on the Church of What's Happening Now podcast, man. I listened to George on the Church of What's Happening Now. I saw him at the Comedy Store, and of course, man, just like I said before, man, I really fuck with him, bro. He's funny as fuck on the podcast. I saw his stand-up, hilarious. I used to watch Yo Mama. George Perez is a fucking winner of Yo Mama from MTV. I'm sure you guys remember that. So I've been knowing George for four great years, and every year he's been advancing, and so have I, man. He's always been super cool with me. I definitely, because I look like George Perez is a fucking huge fan of Cheech and Chong. And he was like, hey, bro, you gotta do Cheech Marin videos where, I do the bandana and I do skits with that. So that really helped facilitate a dope friendship with George Perez. And he started his podcast again. I've been a fan since day one. And 100 episodes later, I was at the 100th episode at the House of Eden. And then a few more episodes after that, I get hit up on a Monday. I was planning to go to Potluck and do the usual bullshit. But he hit me up around 5. He was like, around 4, 3. He was like, yo, bro, can you do our podcast tonight? Can you do the podcast tonight? Over in where he lives. And it's kind of far from where I'm at. It's 35 miles. And I don't have no car, as you guys know. So I'm like, man, I'm not going to make it out there. I don't know, but I'm going to fucking say yes to this because I've been waiting to be on the podcast for a minute. So it was finally my time. It's finally my time for GPS. Finally my time for Felipe. I was on Felipe's podcast yesterday at noon. And it's been all on the up and up since I started to really just focus on my stand-up. Really, just focus on my stand-up and don't let any other thing get in the way. I have Roger That podcast coming out as soon as you guys listen to this. I'll be coming out with one twice a week. They've been really fucked up because I've been busy, but I'm gonna start making sure to do them at the appropriate times. I wanted to record on Sundays, that way they come out on Mondays, and then I want to start recording on Tuesdays so they come out on Wednesdays. So basically those are gonna be my recording times. I got a lot of homies, man, a lot of homies that I know would love to be on my podcast, man. We smoke, drink, just do all that nitty gritty. I might go back to doing it some Sundays at the garage mic. I might do a Tuesday or Sunday too at the CSUN media room where I started Roger That. Dope ass media room inside CSUN's Creative Media Studios. And also I'm getting a spot by Northridge, so definitely expect to do some house podcast, and that'll be the shit. I got a show coming up at the Bang Bang Room September 10th. That's in 2 weeks. That's a dope open mic / show that Sarah Bugden runs. Besides that, you can catch me at motherfucking Garage Mic on Saturdays like a true fucking warrior. If you do comedy alley in a garage, you're a fucking comedian, man. You're a comedian through and through. And don't forget to go to the Arsenal. As I said the last time, the Arsenal runs a great open mic and they give you a free 10 minutes, and they have happy hour on their food and drinks. So it's like, it's a no-brainer, man. I'm broke, but you can still come through and do your spots for free, and if you got some money, you can eat really well too. Goonsquad mic was canceled. I'm not sure if I talked about that last week, but as you guys all know, Goonsquad mic is canceled. Some of you guys have been hitting up a lot of the homies, a lot of the goons. We will return Goonsquad, but we will not return as an open mic. The whole open mic thing is awesome. We did it for a cool minute. I personally did it for like a year total, like, majority of that at the Next Stage Theater, like 2-3 months at the Skip Town Playhouse. Now, what I really want to see is that all these new comedians are being really complacent, and they're just being cool with paying like $5 per spot. So some people will be like, yeah, I'll pay like $15 every day to do 3 spots. And when I started, as I said in previous podcasts, I was doing fucking 6 spots on a Monday, and I only paid $5 for one of them. So times have motherfucking changed. I've done my hosting for the open mic scene. Goonsquad mic is gonna come. Goonsquad show is in the works. Not gonna be a mic no more, like an open mic. It's gonna be a legit show. Probably gonna have it over in the valley or somewhere. We'll find like a dope house where we can do like a house party / comedy show, or a comedy show / house party, and really rock it from there. But yeah, all you new comedians, if there's like one of you guys listening, by new I mean you started in the last 2 years. Hey man, you haven't done it already. Hey, start a room. I'm not telling you because I want to do free open mics, but you know what? I do, so keep it free. But besides that, also it's a really good opportunity for anybody wanting to learn how to host, to actually host, because you do it yourself, basically DIY. I recommend don't find a spot that charges too much. I paid $30 a week at Next Stage for a long time, and between me and you, that was too much for me. Fuck, I've been talking so much I passed the block that I live on. Now I'm a whole block up. But the good part about this is that the block up is a lot better of a block than my block. Start your shows, start all that shit, man. Just keep doing you, basically. I haven't been playing guitar recently, man. I've been really slacking on that. I played yesterday at Guitar Center, really fucked that shit up. I was like strumming with my hands. And like, I didn't know this, but like when I looked down, I had got like nicked a little by the strings, and there was like a little blood that had gotten on like the top E, the low E string, and like a little bit of the, not on the fretboard, but where I strum. Did it look gnarly as fuck? Yes. Will the next person be disgusted a little bit, see a little blood? Yes. So my apologies, but also it looked sick as fuck because it was a $2,000 Taylor classical guitar that I was fucking shit up on. But I'm coming out with my album. It's gonna be done by the end of this year for goddamn fucking sure. I lost all the riffs that I had written on my previous phone, so I just gotta write a whole bunch of new riffs. But honestly, writing riffs and melodies really comes easy to me. I've been playing guitar for over 10 years now, off and on though. So, but nonetheless, man, tune in to fucking my album coming in by the end of this year. I do want to drop a comedy special. I have like a lot of like recordings that I can just like put together and call it like the Roger Chronicles or some shit. I'm gonna definitely do a whole album about my one nut because I got at least like 20 minutes of one nut material. I just gotta come up with another 25, and then yeah, that's basically it, man. I appreciate you guys for listening. You guys are all badass motherfuckers. Don't ever forget that. Remember to follow your dreams. Don't let anybody fucking get in your way. Remember to do your exercise. Fucking do your jumping jacks. And just like Joey Diaz says, man, every so often he's like, hey man, you gotta wake up in the morning and know that somewhere out there somebody's got your money in their pockets. And he's not talking about stealing their money directly from their pockets. He's talking about like, be the person that fucking attains their money from their pockets. Be the comedian that fucking sells out everywhere and wants people, and people want to fucking come to pay for your shows. Be the fucking Steve Jobs that makes the next iPhone so that you take people's money, but like you give them a great fucking service. That's what he fucking means, man. There's somebody with your money in their pocket, and you need to go out and fucking get it. Have a beautiful motherfucking